A few years ago, Elon Musk, the founder of this revolutionary car company called Tesla, was asked a very specific question. And that question was regarding the future of his electric car company called Tesla. And he warned all of us. He said that he feels threatened by the Chinese electric car companies. He said that it's not just Tesla. All the other electric car manufacturers of the world should fear Chinese electric car companies. He said that Chinese electric car companies would dominate the world. Yes, he warned us about that. And he also said that applying tariffs on China is the only way the world can save its own car companies from Chinese car companies. The Chinese car companies are going to conquer the entire world, and all the other car companies, including Tesla, would be demolished. He warned us about that. But today, he must be feeling really happy. In fact, all the other electric car companies of the entire world would be feeling really happy. Why? Because Chinese electric car companies are collapsing from within. Yes, they are collapsing from within. So much so that Chinese President Xi Jinping has basically published an article advising Chinese electric vehicle segment to take remedial steps so that this industry can be saved. In fact, Xi Jinping is panicking right now. Now, this Chinese electric vehicle sector is facing from a specific economic disease called involution. So what is involution? It's a very specific disease, but what is it? And how is Chinese EV sector suffering from it? Let's talk about this. So hello and welcome to Jumbo IS, and welcome to our brand new lecture series called UPSC Nuggets. Now today we are going to talk about involution and how is it impacting Chinese electric vehicle industry, which was set to dominate the entire world and demolish all the other car companies of the world. So let's talk about involution. How does it work? What are its causes? What are its consequences? Let's talk about all these things. Okay, so let's begin. So involution, collapse of Chinese EV sector. So first let's take a look at the definition of this word involution. Okay, so involution. In an economic sense, involution, and there is a Chinese word for it. In fact, Chinese language word for it is nizhuan. It refers to a state of diminishing returns where increased effort leads to a stagnant or declining output and competitiveness. And when this happens across the industry, well, it leads to the collapse of that industry. Now, how is it working? I'll give you an example and you'll understand how is it working in the Chinese EV sector. Okay? Now look, in economics, everyone tells you this, okay, that competition is good for the economy. If there is high competition in a particular sector, it's good for the economy. If many companies are competing against each other and there is free and fair competition, well, it forces the companies to innovate, provide good quality products, and keep the price as minimum as possible so it benefits the consumers as well. So everyone is happy. Your economy is happy because it is producing innovative products, high value products, and consumers are happy because they are getting low prices for good quality products, right? So competition overall is considered very good in an economy. An economy that has free and fair competition, well, that economy booms. But not always. Because in this particular case, in China, fierce competition, unabashed competition in the electric vehicle segment has led to the collapse of this industry. Now, involution, the English language word, actually comes from Latin. Okay, so the English language meaning of involution is moving inwards, looking inwards. But in economic sense, it is different. So let me come to that example. Okay, so how does it work? Clear? Listen to me. So the thing is that, well, in China, there are more than 100 electric car companies. Okay, and they are in fierce competition with each other. Fierce competition. Okay, so there is extremely high competition between Chinese electric vehicle companies. Now, this fierce competition has led to price wars. Now, what do you mean by price wars? Well, each company is trying to basically reduce the price of their product so that they can sell their product to maximum customers, so that they can capture the maximum market share, right? So each company is trying to outbid the other company, that we sell products at lower price, so all consumers should come to us. So all companies are basically in this race to the bottom. Everyone is lowering their price to capture maximum market share. Now, what happens if in this case? Well, because of these price wars, the price has dramatically come down. Now, when the selling price of your product comes down, your profit margin reduces, right? Earlier, if you were earning 100 rupees per product, now you're just earning 10 rupees per product. So how would you make more money? By selling more products. Earlier, you were selling one product and earning 100 rupees. Now you have to sell 10 products to earn more money, to earn 100 rupees, right? So this declining profit margin basically pushes these companies to increase their volume of sales, right? So their volume of sales increases. This leads to overproduction, right? Or we should say oversupply. So all Chinese companies, because they want to earn more money, they are overproducing because their profit margins are thin, right? Now, why have we added the word over here? Yes, they are increasing their supply, but that is oversupply because the demand for electric vehicles is limited. But Chinese companies have produced a lot of electric vehicles. The demand is stagnant, but supply has increased. So many electric cars would be left unsold. That would increase unsold inventories of these car companies. Now, these car companies would be making huge losses if they cannot sell these unsold cars. So they would lower the price further so that they can offload these excess surplus stock of cars. Price would come further down. And prices have been declining rapidly. And because of this declining price, what has happened? This entire cycle repeats again. Profit margins decline so much so that the final price of electric car is equal to the production cost. It is very close to the production cost. So what happens? Well, if final price is very close to the production cost, your company is making no money. And large companies can afford to do so. Okay, large companies are full of, their pockets are full of cash. But small companies cannot afford to bear losses and therefore they would declare bankruptcy. When they would declare bankruptcy, it would lead to massive unemployment. That is currently what is happening in China. You understand? This is what is happening. This entire cycle, this is what is happening. Clear? Now, key features of, well, involution. So what are the key features? Well, the first feature is, remember this, diminishing returns. What do you mean by diminishing returns? Well, the companies are putting way more effort. They are putting a lot of effort. Why? Because their profit margins are thin. Therefore, they are increasing their supply. They are working overtime. They are running round the clock factories. They are producing more and more. They're putting in a lot of effort. But the more effort they put, the more losses they bear. Because the more effort they put, it leads to oversupply. And when it is over, well, more losses are there because that leads to unsold inventory of cars. So more effort, less money, more losses, diminishing returns. Then the second feature of involution is oversupply. Okay, oversupply. Yes, it is happening. Then the third feature of involution is, and very clearly, well, it leads to losses. Bankruptcies, right? These are the three main features of involution. You understand now? So this is involution. Now, what are the causes of this? Why is this happening in China? Generally, it is believed that competition is a good thing. Then why is this happening in China? Okay. Well, China is suffering from various issues, and that is why this disease got to EV sector. Now, number one is, well, systemic failure of Chinese government policy. Look, the Chinese Communist Party always favors oversupply. They have always asked their companies to produce more and more and more so that they can export more and more and more, right? Now, Chinese government has always pushed their companies to produce more. Now, in case of EVs, companies have been producing more, but that has led to involution. So, number one cause is systemic failure. Then, there are so many EV companies in China, fierce competition, unsustainable competition is the biggest cause for this. And third, well, tariffs from USA. Because USA applied some tariffs and threatened to put more tariffs, if Chinese car companies had to be competitive, they had to lower their price. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to export their electric vehicles. Okay? Because America has artificially increased the price of their product by applying tariffs. So they have to lower their price so as to be more appealing to export consumers. Consumers abroad. Right? So these three factors actually led to this. Make sense? Now, what are the implications? What are the consequences of this? Well, it will lead to massive job losses in China. Already, China's economy is facing a real estate crisis, economic crisis of sorts. This would further accentuate this crisis, this economic crisis. Okay, massive job loss, bankruptcies. But you shouldn't be happy just now. The world shouldn't be happy with this. Why? Because if China has a huge stock of unsold electric vehicles, what would it do? It would dump it to global markets. What do you mean by dump? Well, it would sell these electric vehicles at such low price, that Indian car companies, American car companies, European car companies won't be able to compete with them. And they would face a collapse, right? This will happen, okay, if China is allowed to export. So this dumping would have repercussions for the entire global EV market. So this is a challenge, but currently this challenge is in China only, within the borders of China. Let's see what happens when it spills over to other parts of the world, okay? So that is involution, and it can happen to any sector, any part of your economy. But I hope you understood involution, right? If you have any doubts, please write those doubts in the comment section. I'll be happy to entertain them all. All right then. That would be all from my side, guys. Thank you so much.